Hello, welcome. This is Business Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, federal government gets $800 million World Bank grant. And Manufacturers Association of Nigeria backs federal government's decision to halt 10 naira per litre excise duty on beverages. DMO says fresh promissory notes raising national debt. And customs intercept goods worth 2.8 billion naira in Owerri. Thank you for joining us on Business Now. I am Frank Omalape. We'll begin now from the Federal Capital Territory, where the federal government has announced $800 million World Bank grant as part of its subsidy palliatives measures. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this during the weekly after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. According to the minister, the palliatives would be targeting 50 million vulnerable Nigerians or 10 million households. Ahmed underscored that engagements are ongoing with the newly established Presidential Transition Council and the incoming administration to drive the palliative program, which includes the need for houses or buses rather, among various considerations. While the federal government has approved the sum of 10.9 billion naira for the supply and installation of information and communication technology component for the 2023 National Population Census scheduled to hold in May. And now the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has applauded the federal government on its decision to halt the increase in excise duty on alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages and tobacco. In a statement, Director General Mr. Ishegun Ajayi Kadri also commended the government's decision to allow the 2022 to 2024 federal government's sectoral roadmap to run its full course. Recall that in 2021 Finance Act to fund the 2022 budget, an excise duty of 10 per litre on all non-alcoholic carbonated and sweetened beverages was introduced. Ajayi Kadri noted that the apprehension and the concerned sector necessitated a follow-up visit to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning by a delegation of men led by its President Otumba Francis Meshioye, and the outcomes allayed the fears of man. He stated that the association is gladdened by the assurances of the Minister that the 2023 fiscal policy guidelines on the reconsideration of the Finance Act 2023 have been concluded and will be released immediately. Upon the proposed introduction of the sugar tax, man had warned that a new tax imposed on carbonated drinks and others will be counterproductive and urged the government to devise other means of generating revenue rather than inadvertently stifling the productive sector, which was already struggling. The association contended that the policy's projected revenue of 81 billion naira from 2021 to 2025 cannot be compared to the potential loss to government in other forms of taxes and revenue cut that it will entail. And in the meantime, the Director General of the Debt Management Office, Ms. Patience Oniha, has said promissory notes, budget deficit and constant borrowing have led to an increase in public debt. While expressing her concern about the rising debt, she stressed the need for higher revenue in order to cut down the high debt service to revenue ratio. Oniha said, "I should say very clearly that I am concerned. These days, I am more of a revenue advocate. As I said, total public debt to GDP is about the lowest in Africa. Countries like Kenya and Angola have over 60%. If you look at other countries like the US, the UK, and Germany, they have over 100% debt to GDP, yet their people are not screaming that debt is too much. That is because there is revenue to support it." She said the debt stock is growing because Nigeria has been running a budget deficit for many years. And end of quote. In good time and bad times, she also added that we have borrowed. We have been running budget deficit, and those deficits are funded 85 to 95% from borrowing. And he advises the government to work on borrowing its revenue and reducing its expenditure. Nigeria's total public debt stock increased to 46.2 trillion. That's about $103.1 billion in the fourth quarter of 2022, according to recent data from the DMO. The debt consists of the domestic and external total debt stocks of the federal government and the subnational government, and that's about 36 states of the federation. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, on Wednesday in Abuja sealed 2 shops for allegedly selling unapproved products to Nigerians. The shops are located in the Zuba Central Motor Park and Utako Main Market. Reports say that some of the unregistered products said to be Afrosidias, Dixiax, Hajia, Ayesha's, and Snuff, AK-47, Bulletfoob, and Hajia Asha Meisanda. Mr. Tamanua Baba, Deputy Director, Investigation and Enforcement Directorate of NAFDAC, said the operation followed intelligence report received about the shops. NAFDAC laboratory analysis indicate that these products contain a chemical substance called fritidine, which is potentially harmful to the human body. Baba said that the agency has apprehended the sales representative in the Zuba shop pending when the owner of the shop will return from his journey. It says a similar set of products were also discovered in a shop at Utako known as Cabo Investment Limited. He said that it was scary that some of the products have flooded the Nigerian market and that they are fast spreading because the agency conducted a similar operation in Sokoto, while some of the products were removed from a shop. And now, offshore operators in Nigeria's shipping sector have ruled the absence of the Nigerian Shippers Council and the regulation of charges in the subsector. This is even as the operators have taken their destiny in their hands by increasing offshore shipping charges by $1,500. President of the Maritime Security Providers Association of Nigeria, MASPAN, Emmanuel Maigua, said that the operators who were worried by the irregularities in pricing regime had to agree that prevailing rates be increased by $1,500 US dollars. Maigua said due to irregularities in the pricing regime in Nigeria's offshore operations, what they have done in the interim is to agree on a resolution that the rate that has been prevalent in the last 2 to 3 months be increased. He said they are facing a situation where most of the vessels moving about were not 100% safe due to irregularities in the pricing regime of the offshore shipping businesses, and that vessel owners were cutting corners to secure jobs, and it was threatening safety standards of the vessel. On the agency directly responsible for fixing rates, the MASPAN president explained that the responsibility to directly look into charges and fix rates has been recently given to the Nigerian Shippers Council by the government. Still ahead, customs intercept goods worth about 2.8 billion naira in Owerri, the Imo State capital. These are more after this break. Please stay with us.